In this lesson, we're going to talk about ethics and some of the more common rules of professional conduct for public accountants. Now, one could take the position that ethics is an inherent trait we are born with. However, another school of thought suggests that a little education can go a long way towards forming ethical behaviors. Understanding that ethics is basically a set of moral principles or values is not all that complex. What is more complex is understanding why people behave differently in similar situations. Why does one person confronted with a similar circumstance steal and another not? Also, are there different degrees of ethical behavior? Can you be mostly ethical? Or does even that imply that you're unethical? Don't expect me to attempt to answer these questions in this lesson. It's an awareness thing that I'm shooting for. Public accounting is a profession. This means that the public accountant has the responsibility to act in the public interest, which may in some instances be contrary to their own best interest. Another distinguishing characteristic of a professional is that the unethical behavior of the individual not only damages the reputation of that individual, but of the entire profession. So just like doctors and lawyers, public accountant professions takes ethics quite seriously. Ethical dilemmas will arise all of the time, simply by virtue of the amount of professional judgment in public accounting. Now, I remember a few years ago when I was just finishing up a quarter end, and our numbers looked a little shy of our guidance to the board. In my discussions with one of my staff about an inventory reserve, it became obvious at how judgmental the process was at determining the reserve. And for whatever reason, my first instinctual reaction was to adjust the reserve so that I hit the guidance number. But almost as fast as I was thinking that, I recognized the ethical dilemma now confronting me. And no matter how minor, I really try to stick to the high road on all issues pertaining to ethics. Sometimes, even if it requires more work. What I've learned during my career is that when shortcuts are taken, you may get away with it most of the time. But when you don't, the penalty can be so severe that you get that deep pit in your stomach that comes with regret and wishing that you had done it right in the first place. And I don't like that feeling. And so I've learned to be aware of situations that could arise that put me in an ethical dilemma. Now, setting ethics aside, even for the little stuff, can be a very slippery slope. So my own personal philosophy is for zero tolerance. But this approach still doesn't solve the issue that different peoples have different ethical standards. Even hardened criminals can argue that they are ethical according to what they've defined as their own ethical standard. Now, rationalizing ethical behavior is a common way of convincing yourself that violating ethics is okay. The law provides a minimum standard, which some equate to the ethical standard. Now, I'm sure we can all recall situations where we know others are doing it and getting away with it, so why shouldn't we do it as well? Have you ever left the office early? Surely that can't be a violation of ethics, can it? Simple ethical dilemmas can be solved quite easily using a moral sense of right and wrong as a guide. However, more complex ethical dilemmas require a more formal approach. Let's work through the steps in slow motion. Once we've identified an ethical dilemma, the first step is to obtain the facts. The second step is to separate those ethical issues from the facts. Determining who and how each party is affected by the dilemma is the third step. The fourth step is to identify alternatives to resolve the dilemma. The fifth step is to weigh the consequences of each dilemma. And then finally, in the last step, is to take the appropriate action. So let's work through an example. Now consider a client that has invited you along, all expenses paid, to its annual strategic retreat held at a resort. The client feels that it would be a good opportunity to give you a better feel for the company and introduce you in an informal setting to all the divisional business leaders. It's easy to justify your attendance on the basis that surely you're getting a better understanding of the company and its senior management team. This is a rare opportunity to get a real sense of the people who are running the business over which you are auditing. But as you stand back and look at this situation, separating the facts from the ethical issue, you begin to appreciate the potential impact that this invitation could have on your objectivity. Consider how the partner might react if he hadn't known that the invitation had been extended. Consider how the audit committee might react knowing that the auditor it has engaged is off socializing with the management team it's supposed to be auditing. What would a shareholder think about such an arrangement? The alternative approaches might be to decline the invitation, perhaps agree to attend but have the firm pay for your attendance. And lastly, you make your decision accordingly. And as we haven't yet talked about the rules of professional conduct, I'll skirt the issue of giving you a right or wrong answer for this particular dilemma. For some people, preaching ethics will never resonate with their beliefs or values, so for these folks, the profession establishes rules of professional conduct. Obviously, you should engage in ethical behavior because normally it just makes good business sense. That's the carrot for being a good public accountant. But for those who don't buy that argument, there are disincentives or sticks in place to force conformance. These rules are not guidelines. They have teeth and they bite. The sanctions that can be imposed for violating a rule of professional conduct includes any of the following: public humiliation of your poor judgment through a public announcement, restrictions of your ability to practice auditing and take on new clients, increased oversight through peer reviews or monitors, monetary fines, requirements to improve the quality control procedures or technical knowledge, revocation of your professional designation, which in essence cuts off your ability to earn a livelihood altogether. All jurisdictions have their own professional rules of conduct, and thankfully in principle they are all largely consistent. Let's cover off the big ones now, and these are the ones that you can never lose sight of. Now, it's been said in earlier lessons, and it's being said again now, that the auditor must maintain its independence. And independence or objectivity has two dimensions that the auditor needs to maintain. Independence, in fact, exists when the auditor is actually able to maintain an unbiased attitude throughout the audit. Independence or objectivity in appearance is how the others perceive the auditor's relationship with the client. There are 5 primary threats to independence that you cannot forget. A self-interest threat arises when you benefit from a financial interest in or arising from the client. For example, you own shares in the client, or the client's audit fee represents a significant portion of your income. These sorts of situations would give rise to a self-interest threat because if you were to report something amiss with the client, it could jeopardize your own beneficial interest. A self-review threat arises when you are in a position where you are auditing your own work. This may happen if you've been asked to provide accounting advice to the client and then at year end you have to audit the validity of that advice. Obviously, it's hard for you to challenge your own advice. An advocacy threat arises when you are perceived to be promoting the client's position, causing you to lose your impartiality. For instance, if you structure your fees based on the successful outcome of a new financing, you have the appearance of having a stake in the successful outcome that may impair your objectivity. A familiarity threat arises when you get too close to the client, and this can occur if the client is a long-standing client or the client has hired senior management from the public accounting firm. It's awful hard to disagree or stand up against friends on important issues. An intimidation threat arises when the client's actions prevent the objective completion of the audit. These actions could be threat to replace the auditor because of a disagreement over accounting policies or unrealistically low fee expectations. Public accountants must have mechanisms in place to deal with such threats to independence, or alternatively decline the engagement. Safeguards may be specified by the profession through the rules of professional conduct, or safeguards may be established through the client itself, for example, by having the audit committee in place between the auditor and the senior management. Or safeguards can also be devised within the audit firm itself and include such policies as staff and partner rotation. The variations of independence dilemmas can be complex and countless. Some measures of practicality need to be considered. For example, think of a nonprofit client that doesn't have any in-house accounting expertise. It would be impractical for them to engage 2 public accountants, one to opine on the accounting issues and the other to perform the audit. The rules of professional conduct are accommodative of these sorts of situations. This is a really neat table that summarizes where auditors do and do not have independence issues that may prohibit them from accepting an engagement. Okay, enough about independence. Let's look at some of the other key rules of professional conduct. Next, let's look at confidentiality. Generally, the rules state that the auditors are bound by confidentiality. It doesn't have the same level of legal protection as a solicitor-client privilege does for lawyers, but the intent is similar. What this means is, for all practical purposes, unless you are subpoenaed to disclose client documents, you just can't, without the permission of the client, of course. There's a whole other set of rules that pertain to the maintenance of the reputation of the profession. These rules are along the lines of the golden rule, and that is, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Integrity and due care rules are established to preserve the public accountant's reputation for honesty and fair dealing. Due care establishes the legal responsibility between the auditor and certain users of the financial statements. It's important to realize that if you screw up an audit and issue the wrong opinion, that you, as the auditor, can be sued, not only by the client, but by the users of the financial statements who relied upon your opinion when they made their decision. Competence rules mandate that the public accountant maintain their technical relevance through professional development. Many institutes have some form of mandatory professional development requirement for a public accountant to maintain their professional designation. Typically, this is anywhere from 40 to 60 hours per year of professional development. There are often advertising and solicitation rules in place to maintain the professional image of public accounting. So firms can't start soliciting one another's clients or make any such claim that they are the best auditors. Certain fee structures can be problematic for auditors as well. Contingent fees are problematic for auditors as they create independence issues. The rules of professional conduct define a narrow set of circumstances when these sorts of arrangements are acceptable. And last, communication is required with predecessor auditors. This is an important set of rules as it provides the successor auditor an opportunity to inquire as to whether there's any professional reason why they should not accept a new audit engagement when the company switches auditors. All of these rules are enforced by the applicable society or institute of public accountants under which the rules are promulgated. So before we even start talking about audit, we've already talked about some of the professional attributes that distinguish public accountants from bookkeepers. Until next time, don't stop to get to the top. When you get to the top, don't stop.